And you see this in their language, right? Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Charlotte Gilman, Phoebe Cousins, talking about how black men are brutal, talking about how black men are misogynistic and they don't deserve the right to vote. Rebecca Latimer Felton, you gave the black man the ballot, you made let him believe that he was a man, but he is a rapist. So we have to 1,000 Negroes a week to protect white women, so be it.
Yes, yes, she is. Yes, you're not getting my mama.
No, this boy here is you hear him?
Hey, trying to get my mama. No, she is married.
White women did not respond as recognizing black men as men. They recognized them as beasts. In fact, when you get to the 20th century, you have tons of sociologists, white sociologists and social scientists, right, saying the black race is a race without men at all.
Amy, you are 6 years old, bro.
Bro.
6. I know how to answer.
No, I'm trying to let him to not get you.
When you get to the 20th century, you have tons of sociologists, white sociologists and social scientists, right, saying the black race is a race without men at all. See, so this notion that patriarchy is
hold on. We got to skip over what you just said. Please quote that again. And who referenced that or who stated that?
Oh God, well, I mean, it was a common fact. So you have that in Henry Odom's work, right? He's a guy that's writing actually about domestic abuse and crime, and he says that one piece of the evidence, right, that the black race is not an evolved race is it doesn't have real men.
Patriarchy is men acting in very narrowly prescribed way. And if you get out of line, who makes you get back in line? Other men. People say the black community is a matriarchy. No, you can't have a matriarchy within a patriarchy. Like, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. We're living in what bell hooks would call an imperialist, white supremacist, capitalist patriarchy, right? That's in every structure, in every institution. It's in our socialization, okay?
So apatriarchality, or that's what we call it in our research, the idea that black men could not rule households, that they were street men, that they couldn't form nuclear families, or the idea that black men couldn't hold a job, support their family, they would have multiple women and leave, that they were not monogamous. These were all tropes during early social scientific studies.
What the feminists have always said is in patriarchy, male privilege comes with male obligation and male subjugation. You can't get male privilege without male duty, male responsibility, because you have to uphold the social order, and you're going to be forced to uphold the social order via what? Subjugation. So that means within any patriarchy, there are going to be some men who are going to have to lay the fuck down. And in this one, it's black men.
It kind of justified to white researchers and thinkers that black men weren't real men. You see, people, this is what I mean about the short historical memory. People don't understand that if you're looking at a white patriarchal society and the white family, the father, the mother, and the children, were the basis of the family and the government and the society more generally, black men and black families were not thought to be normal within those societies. They were thought to be pathological and deviant. And one of the major deviants or deviations from white patriarchal families was that black men were not in the home.
It just seems suspicious that you have two fathers in a life and they're not involved.
It seems suspicious that you don't know that black men do this every single day, and it's not for me to chase it.
This is why they claimed that black families were matriarchal. That was the dominant view from like 1920 to 1980 in the United States. These were matriarchal households.
Of course, shout out to Jeff St. James and his Ask Your Brother podcast and his conversation with Dr. Tommy Curry. They're having a conversation about essentially how can there be a black patriarchy in America when you just noticed what America is. It's always been bewildering to me to hear so many feminists, and particularly black feminists, kind of play this thing where it's both sides of the coin, where black men are victims and they need to rise up, but they're also these oppressive patriarchs. And it's just, I mean, how do you make sense of that?
Firstly, being Black comes with its fair share of challenges in general.
Yeah.
But I also think that Black men have this unique condition that they're oppressed by racism, but also amplified by patriarchy. So you exist in this kind of weird negotiation that also allows you to, in some ways, have privileges and in other ways not.
One of the very unique and special things about us as ADOS people, and more specifically ADOS Black men, is that there's never been a group of people like us pretty much anywhere on the planet. I mean, we're a mixture of European, African, Caribbean, South American, Native American, and our names come from all over Europe. So how do you define yourself when you're essentially a group of created people? It's a very unique situation. So when people, more specifically certain women or even Black women, point the finger at Black men and say, we're in this situation because you didn't fight hard enough, but also you're an oppressive patriarch and you created this situation. It's kind of like, now we're just part of history, really, and we're trying to find our place in it. And of course, when you hear people like Kimberly Nicole Foster speak, essentially she's saying, you have a duty to do X, but also you are an oppressive patriarch, and it's really hard to square the circle. And that's why we are appreciative of the scholars like Dr. Tommy Curry to make it plain for us.
You know what they say? You know what Helen Hacker says? She says white women generally don't have the view that they're an oppressed minority. The reason we know that they're oppressed by white men is because of how white masculinity treats the Negro. So she says that it's by how Black people are treated in the United States that we understand what comes to be called patriarchy operates. It's a racial term because at this period of time, like Alva Murdahl says, white women are being engaged paternalistically. They're being cared for and choices are being taken away from them. They're being kept in the home. They're being prevented from buying property and going into this, walking down the street alone, etc. Their choices are being limited.
Wow, 12 or 13. And these are not Plan Bs. These are real going to get abortions.
Oh yeah, baby, they knew me by name.
Oh, so you went to the abortion clinic 13 times?
Yes, I remember I had to use one of my cousin's IDs to go get my last one. Then I was like, I ain't going back.
They won't let you come back in?
If you've ever bared witness to actual patriarchy, you know that those societies tend to take away choices from young women. But then again, those societies take away choices from everybody. If you don't believe me, go to certain societies and try and womanize. Go and openly say that not just the young ladies of the evening in the red light district, but regular young women. There are some places where if you're doing it, you better not be doing it in public. And then, of course, we also have places where you're paying marital prices and you're paying for weddings and all of these things that you're supposed to bring to the table on a man's part. That's part of patriarchy, right? But what happens in a society that's open sexually and a young lady, like we just heard, can essentially not have 10 or 15 more Black babies in the Black community? There's no overwhelming, overarching Black patriarchy that's saying you can't do that. There certainly are places where she can't do that on this planet, but the Black community is certainly not one of them. And so if this conversation about a Black patriarchy is going to be had, we have to be honest.
Yeah. So you get the blame for the patriarchy, but none of the positive consequences that supposedly comes with being in a patriarchal position. I'm like, you're in this catch-22 where you're constantly being blamed for something that you're not even a product. You're not a product of. You're not even a active contributor to in any grand scale. But you're still being blamed. Basically, all men in the culture and society, like you said, in terms of all men are oppressing all women according to the current definition of the patriarchal model. When the men that are least getting that are already called not men, not leaders, shouldn't even be respected and questioned, and simultaneously they're being blamed for this all-encompassing thing. And I'm like, this is incredible, because that's why
the contradiction we point.
Yeah, so that's why every time anybody brings up anything pertaining to men, but especially Black men, there's this visceral reaction because now they're seeing it on two fronts. They're like, you're failing as leaders of men.
Patriarchy is men acting in very narrowly prescribed way. And if you get out of line, who makes you get back in line? Other men. People say the Black community is a matriarchy. No, you can't have a matriarchy within a patriarchy. And then after an extended period of those men not having the capacity or desire to police each other, then they say, well, actually freedom is we just do whatever we want and it's the women's fault.
And you are the consequence for all that's wrong in society. And they see, the crazy thing is they see all other men, and especially Black men, as somehow walking hand in hand with the white patriarchal model. And I'm like, huh? Like, so I'm like, so you see us as that. This is crazy.
First, I want to give a shout out to Jeff. That's fantastic. That is fantastic work, Jeff. And I appreciate you having this conversation because we have to have it. I mean, we have to. We can't have Black men be in the most perilous position in terms of the stats, and then at the same end of the token, when you're going to the rally for the young Black man who was deleted, you're also calling that deleted Black man a patriarch. We have to be honest about this because the true problem is if you don't provide any perks for being a patriarch, then what's the point of having a bunch of responsibility and nothing else except this is your job, you're supposed to do it, but you're not supposed to want anything. Nobody is going to take that deal, and that's exactly what we're seeing today.
But see that right there, that is the contradiction that ignited Black male studies. Because we asked a very historical, empirical question. How do white patriarchal capitalistic societies treat racialized men? And we found that they exterminate them. Now, this was, of course, said before me. I'm not the person. This wasn't like, right? Like people like Earl Miller, the late Jim Sedanius, Anthony LaMelo, they all said this. But it wasn't organized as a conceptual principle that you can use to read and study history, politics, etc. Right? So just like you said, well, how if patriarchies are about all men oppressing all women, then why is it that you have groups of men who are exterminated, not called men, being ruled over by white men and white women
and Black women?
Right, and in some cases Black women, educated elite Black women, right?
I don't want to spoil the video because I think this is a fantastic piece of work, and I certainly implore you to take some time to go watch it. But what we have to have a conversation about is simply, you cannot call Black men oppressive and oppressed. And on the times when it's easy to say, hey, you guys are bad, you owe us this, this, and this. But on the other end, you said, but you have no authority over our community. Then I'll show you exactly what you're going to get.
Hey, 这个你行吗？我怎么不行？Yeah, you can't do this.
Let's try.
No, you can't do it.
Let's try.
No, I don't want to try. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Let's try.
To me, it's comical when I hear people speak of this Black patriarchy that is forbidding Black women in particular from living their best lives because, look, this is Stephon Marbury. This is one of the best high school basketball players in the history of America. Does this look anything close to patriarchy to you? This looks like a man who is very humble and very happy with the woman he has. He is egalitarian to the core. That's what we are as Black men. And that's one reason why we travel so well. Or better said by Martin on his television show,
Yeah, that ain't no damn
Patriarchy. As ADOS Black men that have experienced the American experiment in a very unique way, we have developed some skills that many of us don't even realize that we have. The ability to be disarming, just feeling the room and understanding that there may be some people uncomfortable because you're Black, because you're tall, because they see Black men a certain way. The ability to be charming, or even the ability to hold your rage in, because you know that if you're dealing with a police officer or a girlfriend or someone that is essentially emasculating you, you do not have the ability to be a quote unquote patriarch. And so when we travel around the world, like you see Stephon Marbury, we can offer a very unique experience because we aren't patriarchs. Would we like to be patriarchs? Yes, sure. But if we are not in a situation where we can put our foot down and say, you do this because this is the way it needs to be done, if that woman can essentially go around you and say, nah, I'm just going to call the authorities. I'm going to call the child support court. I'm going to call someone that's not you, someone that's not even the same race as you. And they're going to make you do it because I have power over you. That's not a patriarchy. And it's high time that we understand that whatever we're doing in the black community is something, but it's not that. Because you can see when a 6-year-old boy under the authority of his mother can tell a man, hey, don't have these men coming up to me, asking me out. Use your job to protect me. Who's really running that? That 6-year-old boy or that woman? We got something in the black community, but I can guarantee you this. This ain't no damn patriarchy. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.